Happy Sunday, June 21st, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of ScreenPlayers Podcast Replay. This time we talked about the video game final bosses that made us sweat the most. But before I leave you to that, let me cover the very sad news first. If you have not heard about it yet, Cyberpunk 2077 is delayed again. CD Projekt Red co-founder Martin Iwinski and head of studio Adam Badowski, hopefully pronouncing their names right, communicated via Twitter that the game will now come out, hopefully, November 19th, 2020. The good news is that the game will also be available at launch on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X through an update. Also, there are all sorts of crazy rumors on alleged pricing, not only with regards to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, but also about a console that in all likelihood exists, but that Microsoft has not officially announced yet. Yes, I'm talking about Lockhart. I will cover all of this on ScreenPlayers News this coming Tuesday, and we'll discuss if the rumors are to be believed. Without any further ado, I'll leave you to our podcast replay about who was the enemy or final boss that made us sweat the most. And by the way, guys and girls, let us know in the comment section down below, who was it for you? I actually just realized now, we didn't agree on who's gonna go first today. So, I don't know, who wants to go first?
I want to go second.
You want to go second? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. Why not?
Alright, well, Claudio.
No, then I want... No, then I want
Too late.
No.
Silver medal for you. Silver.
You made it again, Claudio. You're too good at this.
Well, Claudio, on the topic of who is the boss that made you sweat the most? And I'm sure that you had a whole week of thinking, who the hell could that be? So, who did you pick?
No, it actually came to my head immediately, Laura. Spoiler alert. The one that Daniele picked.
No, I didn't pick that one eventually. I didn't pick that.
Okay. So you didn't pick Ultima Weapon or Omega Weapon from Final Fantasy?
No, he
it was
did
Omega,
not.
but I didn't. I mean, I was struggled till the end, but anyway.
No, I picked something else from a series that anyone on Earth probably should know.
Right.
And I'm speaking of M. Bison, but not just any M. Bison from Street Fighter, in case you lived under the rock in the last 30 years. M. Bison or General Bison. If I have to think of one incarnation of the character that made me sweat and curse the most, was the one in Street Fighter Alpha 3. First of all, have you guys played with this particular version of Street Fighter? It was for the first...
Alpha 3, you mean?
This is not Alpha 3, by the way.
No, this is not Alpha 3. We couldn't get any gameplay done, so I had to... Basically, this is the reveal trailer of Lord Bison in... was it the Street Fighter 5?
Yeah, this is Street Fighter 5.
Then it was Street Fighter 5. There you go.
Let's take a step back. So, M. Bison, as you may know or you may not, the real name of the character is Vega. Oh, surprise, surprise.
Really?
In Japan, that guy is called Vega.
Wait, hang on a
And
second. Rewind. Bison's name is Vega.
In Japan, yes.
But hang on a minute.
Here's the
Was there not another guy, a Spanish guy called Vega with a mask?
Now, here's the deal.
We're missing the
guy
basics here.
we call Vega in Western world, in the Western society.
Right.
It's called Balrog in the original version. The guy we're looking at now, the final boss, is called Vega, red guy with the beret. The boxer was called M. Bison. Which is a pun on Mike Tyson.
Tyson.
It's clearly a pun on Mike Tyson. When the game was ported into the US, the Americans said, no, we cannot do this. The real M. Tyson is gonna sue us because this boxer is way too similar to him.
Really?
So, true story. So Capcom of America ported the game into the American version, which is the West version, the one that we got to know also in Europe, having this bizarre 3 shift of names. So now, the Spanish fighter was Vega, the Afro-American boxer was Balrog, the final boss was M. Bison. The reason why he made me sweat, that's it. I rest my case here.
That's the entire reason, because you can understand what name.
No, all the tricks aside. So, as many of you probably, I started playing this series by the second episode, Street Fighter 2. I think that nobody ever played Street Fighter 1. that nobody even know about.
I have.
Okay. What can you tell me?
You're talking to someone, not me, him, who is really, I don't know.
No, but I didn't play the Alpha 3 one.
Did you not?
But I have played the one.
That's interesting.
So, here's the deal. I thought that I was okay at this game because I used to play with Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter Turbo 2. You may remember, so many new versions came out, and I was alright at all of them. Although there was a legend that already in those versions, Bison got stronger every time you got defeated. I don't know if this is true or not. But as a kid, I remember in the arcade where we used to go, there was this legend. They used to say, yeah, if you don't defeat him, it's just gonna get stronger and stronger and stronger.
That doesn't sound accurate.
I don't. It could be. I don't know. I didn't do my research on this because I want to speak about another chapter, which came after, which was Street Fighter Alpha 3. This one came out for the PlayStation 1, the first PlayStation. It's still, of course, with the 2D graphic. And the deal with this Bison is that he had all the usual set of moves that make him already a pain in the neck. So, the Psycho Crusher, if you guys are into the game, the big, hand forward attack, energy attack. I could teleport and stuff. But what I hated the most was, one, you couldn't really block the Psycho Crusher if you were in the air. And he did this move all the time. And this move took off, I think, 85% of your energy. It was by far more than 3/4 of your energy. So that was already super duper annoying.
Basically, one move and you're basically fucked.
That kind of villain. And here comes the real part. You had again only one chance. You had only one go, and if you failed that chance, it wasn't immediately game over, but it was already bad ending. So you already saw how can I say, there were two different endings. There was the good ending, if you defeated him, and if you didn't at the first shot, you got anyway the bad ending, the one in which he wins, in which he eventually destroys the world, or he is able to accomplish his, world domination plan. And I try to imagine the young Claudio. This annoyed the living shit out of me. The living soul, pardon, I shouldn't curse this much. But you can see how affected I am by this character. Because, no matter what, I always got this poor ending, the non-happy ending.
Despite defeating him, the game didn't end well, basically.
Yeah, no, exactly. The game was basically just, flipping the bird to you like, well, you didn't win at the first shot, so, the world isn't safe anymore. Yeah, thanks for nothing, I couldn't stand it. But on a more serious note, gameplay was broken. It was broken in the sense that it was just overpowered. There are so many villains at the end of fighting games which are overpowered. Yeah. I'm thinking of in Tekken 5, there is the grandpa of Heihachi, and he also, he shoots from his chest, and that also takes away half of your energy. I'm thinking in Killer Instinct, there is a character, the villain, who also has a move with a mace, and it takes away half of your energy. But this fucker, this fudger, he really took away.
Look at Jazz.
Moderate myself.
I actually have a question that just came to my mind right now, literally, just by looking at this amazing, screen grab of Bison. Other than being a Colgate model, is he related somehow to Zangief?
No, I don't think so. Isn't Zangief is Russian? Bison is, I think, unknown nationality.
No, I know he's unknown, but why the hell is he, I don't know, wearing like a military red? Like, it kind of would remind me of a Russian general somehow.
So I have a question for Claudio then. What do you think of Raul Julia?
Raul Julia, yeah. The portrayal of Raul Julia.
Interpreting the character of Bison in the Street Fighter movie. Did he respect your expectations of being so annoying?
I'm gonna give a whole new tone to this podcast now.
Okay.
I'm gonna make you feel, slightly miserable, and I'm gonna get you thinking, Daniele.
No. I probably know already what you're saying.
You already know that was Raul Julia's last movie. He died of cancer.
It was for his son, actually, that he has
And
accepted.
it was for his son. You know the story.
What do you
He
mean?
said during an interview, I would have never done this movie. He knew it was crap, but my son is a big fan of Street Fighter. I'm gonna do it for him so that he has something, a memory of mine. I wouldn't ever dare to, give a negative evaluation to that for trial. Yeah, it's Raul Julia. It's Gomez, Adams playing Bison. But other than this, I think it's amazing. I think he nails the role. Yeah, he doesn't. It's kind of funny because the poor guy was really, he was clearly diminishing his body structure, the actor. I mean, as he was playing the role. So you can really see that they are having him wearing a reinforced suit so that he really, looks, he looks muscular and he can look.
Yeah.
Okay in fighting against Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah,
but as I said, I probably got all of you now depressed thinking of,
First comment, by the way, that's so sad.
Yeah, it's so sad, man. But on the other hand, you can look at him with a newfound respect. You can watch that movie and instead of thinking, oh my god, what a pile of crap, you can think, oh well, I guess that the son of Raul Julia enjoyed it.
I'm actually going into a tangent now, but Mortal Kombat was a way better movie than Street Fighter.
Way superior. Yeah, undoubtedly. Danny, you disagree?
Of course he disagrees. Well, now that you're talking and disagreeing, I know who have you picked, and I'm excited to hear about it because this game that he's about to talk, we played almost together, as in he was playing it and I was playing it at the same time, and we both.
You can tell everyone that I told you the strategy how to defeat this.
It is true. It did tell me the strategy on how to defeat this particular boss, but other than that, you didn't really tell me anything else. And if anything, I did help you out on a few bits. But anyway, I'll hand you the mic.
Anyway, I will keep this face or the whole episode now. Because so, as Claudio mentioned, I was wavering between Omega Weapon from Street Fighter 8 and Mold 1 from Control, which is absolutely like a phenomenal game. So probably thinking again, Omega Weapon took more time, so made me sweat more. Okay, but I have to say that the last time that I bet Omega Weapon was probably 10 years ago. Okay. So, I mean, whereas this one was more fresh because I played Control around 3 months ago. So this is the latest, let's say, memory that I have of sweating while beating a boss. Okay. And, well, I mean, besides, of course, I mean, Control, we have mentioned this during other episodes of this podcast. It's absolutely a great game, a great gameplay, and so on. It gives you a lot of capabilities, let's say, to think of your strategy. Okay, so you can fly, you can shield yourself, you can use telekinesis to throw objects,
which is my favorite ability of them all. Throw tables to enemy, rocks, throw other enemies at enemies. That was fucking awesome.
Also, you can actually seize enemies, so you can control them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a spectrum of possibilities that help you build a strategy. Okay. So for Mold 1, so what the first annoying thing is that so Control is that type of game where you don't save the game every time that you want. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can save. I wouldn't say rarely. Okay, but not so frequently. Okay. So whenever you find a save point, it's just like, oh, fine, yes, for finally, you know.
Yeah.
So for Mold 1, you could save the game before beating Mold 1, and then you had to go like a long way, like 15 minutes, let's say, or 10 minutes.
Nah, it wasn't 15.
Which is
this part.
Well, 10 minutes probably of like.
It was a pain in the ass because, as you can see, there are enemies around, and these enemies, these fucking mold people, they were like tougher to beat than the normal people in the game.
Right, exactly. And if they got you, you would lose like a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so who is Mold 1? Pretty much, I mean, there's this old story in Control where all this kind of.
Sorry, are you really talking about the story in Control? Are you really going down the rabbit hole?
Introduce right, exactly. I'm just trying to stay high level.
Okay.
So there is like this paranormal activity which somehow has originated with some mold. Okay. So the more you go through the game, the more you find like hints about mold, and when you go down to the building where the game is set, actually you find this like place which is full of mold and mold like enemies. And then eventually you find what's called like mold 1, okay, which is supposed to be like the father, okay, the father of the mold. Okay, so here it is. So here's where you get mold 1. So it's in the basement, in the very basement of this building. And it actually, I want to hear Claudio. Claudio, what does it remember to you? Because we had similar childhood.
I know this is not what you want me to say, but frankly, it reminds me a bit of The Thing from Carpenter, a horror movie.
But what do I want you to say?
I guess you want me to say the carnivore plant from Resident Evil 2?
No, wrong.
Something. I'm guessing something from Final Fantasy.
No.
Really?
Jazz, what does it remind you of? Jazz, let's say.
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay.
Can I tell you what it reminds me of?
Can I preemptively ask you in which part of our common childhood have we seen something like this?
No, we had common childhood, but we didn't actually experience this character together. But I'm sure when I tell you, you will remember. It's fucking Hydra from Hercules, from the TV series.
Oh, yeah.
Really? Were you thinking of that?
Yeah, so no, like he has a point. He actually has a point. Unbelievably, but he has a point. Then again, how was I supposed to remember that? Like I saw it literally once.
If anything, it made me look more. It made me remember more of Tremors, or.
That too, actually.
Well, I know it.
Or.
But anyway, so what's difficult about Mold 1 is that you can see you have to actually hide from his hit. And he actually throws like some sort of powder that if you don't fly, it hits you. So, and remember that in Control, you don't have like a lot of energy typically. So it was a pain to beat it actually. But I have to say I found like...
he found a glitch after a lot of trials.
Right. Good thing of Control is that you can actually, if you manage to use all your skills, you can find a good strategy to beat pretty much any of the enemies. And just for your information, the way that Lorenzo and I beat Mold 1 was just like stepping into the stone, so facing Mold like straight, and then shield yourself with the shield ability, so that any of his attack would fail pretty much. And when he was just like idling for some seconds, just shoot the health out of his like
that tactic works like wonders. I think that's a glitch in the system, though, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, but the same happens for other enemies, right? Sometimes,
Tomasi, Tomasi made you sweat quite a bit.
Let me ask you the usual round of questions. Which actor could play Mold 1?
I think that
Christian Bale. Christian Bale.
Which one?
Do you think actor or actress, perhaps? Also, the accent, maybe it's important. Do you think an American actor or it could be a British actor?
Well, I think that doesn't really matter because Mold 1's voice was kind of like.
A good dub for Mold 1 in a movie would be the same dub as Tyrannosaurus Rex in Jurassic Park. I think it would fit. And the actor, I think that Axl Rose. Probably.
Axl Rose, yeah. By the way, Levy's here, guys. Hey, Levy, how are you? Have you ever played Control, by the way? We're talking about Mold 1, who is one of the bosses in Control. I actually think in terms of the game, so Control, in terms of gameplay, probably the best game that I played this past year. I know that you agree, though.
Yes.
So you agree?
Yes.
Have to elaborate somehow.
I do agree.
Right, okay. So I need to preface all of this by saying mine isn't exactly a specific boss, it's more of a level, because I thought my first time on here, why do what I'm told? I'll just go off script.
You're right.
So I'm talking about Ancestor's Legacy, which is a real-time strategy game. And there's a specific mission on there, which is the final mission in one of the campaigns. Rurik's campaign, I think it's called. But basically, it's just so relentless. It was all I could think about when I was told, oh, a boss or something that like made you frustrated. All I could think of was this level. Turns out I had to check my achievement. I hadn't played it for 2 years, but that was immediately what popped into my brain. It's one of those ones where you have like a small number of units, you can recruit them, your maximum is 10 units, and it's sort of set in not quite medieval, it depends what factions you pick, but this one is Vikings versus other Vikings. When I say it's relentless, I mean, so you start with a base, you have to take there's 4 different villages and an enemy base, and you spend the entire time on a resource deficit fighting non-stop waves of enemies whilst trying to also capture and hold various places. And it was just, I did this the other day, the footage, and I stopped paying attention. It took 50 minutes. I stopped paying attention once and a unit died. And it's that sort of utterly relentless, just you can't look away. And you're constantly flitting between 3-4 different battles on the screen. And it was just very frustrating because with these sorts of games, I like Turtle. I just like to have my base, I'll build all my units up, and then we just overpowered by the end of it. But weirdly, I think it's not as hard as I remembered because I managed to beat it when I went back to get the footage. But as I say, it was 50 minutes of just constantly flitting all over the screen. You can't look away. And what was another thing that makes it so frustrating is even if you capture every single resource point on the map, you still don't have enough resources to actually maintain more than like 6 or 7 units, which is just annoying to say the least, because you're stuck with bad units from the beginning, and then you have to either destroy them and then hope that you can get more before they come and attack you. But it was just all I could think of when I was told frustrating things is this one level. There's a big tree in the middle of it, and that just popped into my brain. I was like, oh, it's that level with that tree.
So the tree was there. Okay. How many cursors were thrown around in your room the other day when you were filming this?
Well, to be honest, none, because I couldn't, like, I was concentrating so much the entire time. I was just silent.
Like, you basically have to pay attention to the monitor throughout. Like, you cannot just...
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can see on the screen now, I've got 2 different fights going on at once. I've tried to go and capture the village A, and then I've been attacked at C. And it's just that, like, constant. And as you progress more up the map to the enemy's base, you've then got 3 different fights, 4 different fights on the get-go. And so, you can't even, like, be outwardly frustrated because you're just so concentrating on what's going on the screen.
But there's a question from the crowd listening. Is this the final level, or does it get even worse as you progress?
So, this is the final level on this campaign, but there's only actually 6 levels per campaign. So it sort of depends. I did this and then I stopped playing for quite a while. So there are harder levels for sure. I think there must be harder ones because this is the second campaign and there's about 8. So
basically at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Well, I think this one was so much harder than the first one that it took me by surprise, because I distinctly remember having an alright time up until this particular level.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, this is really hard. So, yes, but there's definitely harder ones because actually I haven't made it past mission 3 on a few of the other campaigns. So,
So basically, the general message here is anyone looking to try this game, you're warned.
Well, it's a hard real-time strategy. If you like real-time strategy games and you want a bit of a challenge, check this out, I guess.
Just let me ask you the same question. Which actor do you think would play this level? Or which
Well, towards the end of the footage, the actual boss that you're supposed to kill, that isn't a boss because you win the level by killing all his units, is there, and he's like a Viking guy.
So we need an actor that can impersonate several enemies. You know what? I'm gonna go with mine then. So,
please, no.
So
all right.
The thing is, one of my favorite games of all time. I had to pick this game. Well, not because it's one of my favorite, just because I remember back in the time when I played this game for the first time round, I just got back into gaming after a very long hiatus. So I, probably found this enemy or this final boss more tougher than what he maybe is. I mean, if I play it right now, probably it's gonna be very easy. But at the time, it made me lose it. So the game in question is Uncharted 2, which is, what can I say? Uncharted, Naughty Dog. You've got pretty much every single element that made Naughty Dog a great game developer. You've got storytelling. This is how the game starts, by the way. You just wake up in a locomotive, and as you can see, it's a bit of a pickle, right? You're kind of like going down a cliff, and you gotta climb this locomotive up. And I think that's why I probably love Uncharted 2, because I love movies, books, and games that start like this. As in, you kind of like throw in the middle of a scene that kind of happens really and truly. If you were to follow the story, this kind of happens halfway through the game. So it's kind of like a throw. How would you call it? Like not a throwback, like the opposite. In this case, you kind of this is like a jump in the future, right? That's where you're starting the game. And then you go back to the past as soon as the...
I know. Oh, you mean... Oh, yeah. You mean... well, I know it in Latin. In Latin, it's a media res.
Well, there you go.
It's like Star Wars. Star Wars starts right in the middle of the action.
No, wrong. It's not what Lorenzo is telling. No, really, it's not.
Okay, cool. Now, as you can see...
What is Lorenzo trying to say?
Yeah. What am I trying to say, Danny? Just try and explain.
I think it's a throw forward, honestly.
Okay, it's a throw forward. Okay,
forward,
cool.
If anything.
Flash forward. Exactly.
Flash forward. Anyway, great storytelling, great narrative. The games and Uncharted games, you got a lot of action, as you can see from this scene right here. It's just the second game in the series, so Uncharted 2. The final boss, which, the guy that you face in the end, that you anyway get to see straight from the beginning. So you know that you're chasing this guy throughout the game, pretty much, right? He's basically his name is Lazarevich or something, but Danielle and I, we used to call him Mussolini, because it kind of looks like Mussolini. Right? Yeah, and then you basically face him in the very final scenes. And, well, if you ask Daniele, he'll tell you something different than what I'm about to say. For me, it's just like, the usual tough boss. It's a little repetitive maybe, but, a lot of bosses are. You just gotta, avoid their attacks and try and counter-attack, right? But I think Daniele didn't like it because of this. Am I right?
So, regarding the boss?
Yeah, I'm talking about the boss. Well, you didn't particularly like the game either, though, did you?
What's the worst game I've ever played, honestly?
Okay, cool.
Terrible,
right
really.
up there with The Witcher 3, yeah?
Yeah.
Possibly even worse than The Witcher 3.
It's a tough struggle. No, just kidding. It's a nice game. Yeah, I like it. It's not my favorite chapter, but the boss is really, useless. It's pointless. Repetitive, like half an hour doing the same thing.
Half an hour. Exactly like it was 15 minutes to get to Mold 1, right?
Huh?
Exactly like it took 15 minutes to get to Mold 1.
No, the thing is like to beat this one, there is no strategy. It's just you have to hold on half an hour doing the same intuitive thing, but just half an hour, and you might die, of course, because you might,
of course.
And
by the way, this
really
is why
pointless.
This particular scene is why I love.
Waste of time. This game is the waste of time. I hate it.
This particular scene is why I love Uncharted. By the way, there's a lot of action. It's just looking, or better yet, playing a fantastic action movie. I sense the same here. Whatever Lenzo says, Danny would say the opposite. That was a comment. Yeah, it's just trolling you. I know he likes Uncharted. Although I think he's telling true. I think Uncharted 2...
Who's this guy?
I like how Daniele has a very, black or white kind of vision of
Yeah. I like
it's
how...
the game of Millennium.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time.
This game is most definitely not a waste of time. It's an amazing game. You should all play it, by the way. You as in Jazz and Claudio, because Daniela played it. So this is the scene in question, right? So this is the Mussolini. Well, I mean, hopefully you can see it right in a moment. So all you need to do is basically going around and around and shoot at the sap in the trees that is explosive until Mussolini dies, basically.
Oh wait, he dies at the end. Oh, thank you for the spoiler. Now we'll play this game.
Now I'm never gonna play it. Yeah.
Well, don't be funny. You had your chance.
Yeah, you see those trees, Cloud. You see those trees here. At the end, Nathan hangs him by the feet on one of these trees.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe there are nicer ways to die.
Yeah. So that you know. The bottom line is, I think I picked this boss just because at the time it made me lose my sleep, but I honestly don't know if it's maybe the tougher or the toughest, because if I maybe replay the game, which I will at some point, I just don't have time now, but I will replay Uncharted 2 again. I've got a feeling that I might have a better time the second time round, maybe even on a higher difficulty level.
But here's the thing, in my opinion. So, if you replay Uncharted 2 boss, you will have the same problem, because there is no, it's not something that you unlock. Like, okay, I understood how to beat this because I found his weak point, blah blah blah. Like for control.
Well, hang on a second. No. His weak point. Look, if I remember correctly, his weak point is the sap, right? As in, if you shoot him.
Thank you. Okay, this is from second zero that you understand that his weak point is.
Well, really, it wasn't second zero for me, to be honest with you. I started shooting at him.
Second 10.
Yeah, whatever. I started shooting at him first, and that was very useless. And then I started realizing that the sap was actually his weak point.
Well, whatever. Anyway, my point is that if you replay this, it's gonna be same. You can play it like 100 times. That it's gonna be same like 20 minutes of going in circle and shooting at the top, going in circles.
It's not 20 minutes. Look, this whole video that we just watched is about 8 minutes long, and we just got to the very end at this part. This is the final boss.
Sorry, I said the double. Oh yeah, so you are right, Lore.
So basically, this is 3 minutes long, 4 minutes long at the maximum.
Hey Lorenzo, I have a life. Unlike you, I have a social life. I don't have 4 minutes. Right.
No, but really,
stop playing Fortnite then.
This is the same bullshit for 8 minutes. Okay, sorry.
No, 8 minutes is the whole video, not the boss. The whole video.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like the time that it takes to beat the boss, Lorenzo.
Hang on a second. Someone says that is like Resident Evil and the Tyrant.
What?
Yeah, true. But I mean, I thought about Resident Evil for bosses, but I don't remember like a boss
in Resident Evil there's not a boss that
sweat.
Really makes you sweat.
Nah, I guess.
Like William Birkin, no sweat. It was same. Tyrant for the first one, no. Nemesis maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, Nemesis.
Resident Evil 4, I don't know. Maybe the remake. There are some scenes with William Birkin that actually we sweat a little bit.
There was a scene. I mean, there was a. Obviously, in Resident Evil 2, you face William Birkin three times.
I remember it just gets uglier and uglier.
Yeah.
I remember just by the end is
this kind of like blob.
Ruin.
The first time you face William Birkin, you're in that basement there with all the smoke, and you need to basically run in circle, shooting at William Birkin. So pretty much the same thing you're complaining about right now.
Right, that's true.
But he doesn't look like Mussolini.
But in Resident Evil, at least you have to spare your ammo. Because if you miss too many points, you're screwed. Here you constantly go in circle and find ammo.
Yeah. But in here you have to be aware. So look, if I'm correct, the first time you face William Birkin, what's the danger? The danger is if he actually catches you, right?
Yeah, and I have to say that the first time you find it, it's sort of a labyrinth. It's sort of a maze. So
yeah, but you end up going in circles.
Smoke here and smoke here. So you can actually have something like to deal with. Here is not. I mean, I don't want to be repetitive, but this game sucks. Okay.
And that was it, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel for more of this content, as well as the best news and insights on PlayStation and Xbox. Again, we'll be back this coming Tuesday with our ScreenPlayers news. And until then, happy gaming!